Yo YouTube! This is my video for Friday the 31st of January. I wasn't really planning on working today. Yesterday when I was in dialysis, I was bidding on some jobs for today, but I was sort of bidding just a little bit higher than I thought I'd get the jobs, because I sort of had the feeling that I'll do a job if I get well paid for it, but I don't really mind if I don't work. And luckily, most of the time, my bids weren't accepted. I had about 4 or 5 bids on, and then at one point I had 3 bids on, and then I got a phone call. And I didn't know which one it was going to be, and I got offered this job, the job I'm going to at the moment. And I kind of don't want to do it, but I kind of do want to do it, and I hope that makes a bit of sense. I'd much rather be in bed right now and not be on the road. That's the main reason, but it is money, it is a reasonably easy job, and it will get me hopefully into an area that I can get a job back from. So what I'm now on my way to Boston, which is 15 miles away from where I live, half an hour's travel. I'm picking up a short wheelbase van load, and I'm going to Manchester. The job itself is, it says on CX, 122 loaded miles, and I'm getting £122, £1 a mile. My original bid on this was £125, and that was rejected. And so I thought, oh, fair enough. I'm not going to go a lot lower than that. I was either going to put the same bid on, or I thought, okay, I'll go £3 cheaper at £122 a mile and see whether that works. But if not, I don't really care. And that's when I got the job. So it's a bit strange that my 125 was not good enough and my 122 was good enough. The other thing is, there's quite a few drivers based in Boston that could do this job, so I am surprised that I won that at that price. I think it's a fair price. I don't think it's too low or too high. I think it's fair, but I was surprised still, bearing in mind the time of year and the lack of jobs and the number of drivers that could have done this job. Anyway, I'm now on my way to pick up, and my plan at the moment really is ideally just get a job straight back to the east of the country and go home. I don't want to do a long day today. I'm saying that now because at the end of the day we'll find out what actually happens, and I wouldn't be surprised if I'm drawn into a long day. But my plan at the moment is not to do that. It's just to get, ideally, it's a return job straight back, let's say to Peterborough or Nottingham, and then go home and call it a day. But we shall see what happens. If it ends up being a longer day, obviously I'll be able to earn more money, which is not a bad thing. But let's see how it goes. So I'll leave that with you. I'll let you know how it goes, and I'll update you in the next video when I probably pick up my item. Cheers. I've picked up my load from the Boston area and now I'm heading to Manchester. The time of this delivery is in the region of 3 hours. So I've put on the CX app an ETA of 1:30. It's now 9:45, and I have picked up what ended up being 4 small rugs, and they would have easily fit on a small van. In fact, they would have easily fit in the backseat of a car. So I do feel a bit more satisfied with the price. I'm effectively doing £1 a mile for a small van job. And the pickup was really easy. I pulled up, they put the rugs in the back of a van themselves, and then I pulled off. It was like a minute, if that. So I had rung beforehand to say I was on my way, so they were prepared for me. So yeah, that was really easy, and so I'm quite pleased with this job. I've got a bit of time now, so I thought what I would do is do a verbal reply to a comment on my last video from Friday that Sean Gilmartin has put on. The wise Sean, as I think of him. So this is the comment that I'll quote first of all. So this week has raised the question, Is a good area when it is quiet? A good area could become a very bad area due to an oversaturation of drivers in relation to the job output. End of quote. So that is absolutely correct. I can't disagree with any of those words. Absolutely spot on. I completely agree with all of that. Very much a common sense comment, and very true, I would say. So you're wondering, what have I got to add to that? Well, I'm going to add to that my definition when I say good area, what I mean by that, and bad area. Because I think it might be helpful just to see, because I use these terms because they come to my, when I'm speaking, words come to my brain, I say them out loud because they mean things to me, and then every so often I think, oh, I've got to perhaps define these words for everyone else. So here's my definition. When I refer to my own work, a good area is a place that has a better than average chance of getting a job for me paying a fair rate. And a bad area, in my terms, is a place that for me is a lower than average chance of getting a fair rate for a job that I want to do. And so I'm not referring to good areas and bad areas in some sort of generic way. They are very specific to me, and I'll try and explain what I mean by that. I regard the Northwest as being a good area for me. And it's mainly because there are a lot more jobs coming out and there are a lot more drivers. And it's absolutely true that if there are more drivers than jobs, it's unlikely I'm going to find a fair paying job. But what I'm looking for, in addition to a fair paying job, is a job heading to the east of the country. And generally, jobs going to the east, they don't really come from anywhere other than the west of the country. I get there would be the odd job coming from the northeast coming down the country, but there's very rarely anything coming from the south of the country going to where I live. There's very rarely anything coming from north of where I am. So Hull would be a good example, Grimsby to where I live. Any jobs going from there usually goes across to the west of the country. Obviously not every job, but the bulk of them are. And so really, because I'm trying to get back across to the east of the country at the end of the day, West Birmingham, Bristol, Northwest tends to be a good area of the country for me to be in the middle of the day to try and find those jobs back. And the other thing I would say in relation to this is short jobs don't really work for me very well, particularly when there's a lot of drivers, because they go too cheaply. So me sticking around the East Midlands, which is sort of within 60 to 100 miles of where I live, it might work some when it's busy, but generally it's no point being there as my first job of the day, because I'm not going to get enough short jobs at a price I can afford to do and get me home. So the East Midlands, I would say, is a good area generally, but not necessarily for me to start off my day in. But I'll end my day there because it's close enough to get home. So a good area to me is an area that's just simply, where should I head for that gives me a better than average chance of getting a decent job where I want to go next. So that's how I would define it. I'm not saying that the Northwest is good for everyone, and I'm not saying that, say, Norfolk is bad for everyone. But in general terms, I would head to Norfolk at the end of the day, although it's not where I live, but it's close enough for me to get home. So that would be a good area for me to go to at the end of the day. For most people, that would be a very bad area to go to at the end of the day. So I hope that makes some sense. Completely agree with Short. Basically, the point that Short's making is there's no such thing as a good or bad area. It depends on the number of drivers to the number of jobs, which I think is absolutely true. Right, but when I refer to good or bad area, I'm referring to it in relation to what I'm looking for that day. Okay, I hope you're having a good week this week, and I shall speak to you later. Cheers. I've just offloaded my first delivery of the day, which was quite easy, just some light rugs that I took into the warehouse, and then I pulled up outside onto the side of the car park, had a look on the CX for another job. There was a whole list of jobs that I could have gone for, and I decided I'd go down them in order. Anything that was reasonably suitable I put a bid on until I got something, and I'd already sort of done a quick scan. There's no like brilliant job that would have got me all the way home. That's a long wheelbase, so I just went back to the top and then went through them one by one, dismissing them or bidding on them. My first bid was a job from Stockport to Keighley, which was 56 loaded miles. I put £50 on for a small van job, 50, and then I carried on looking on the list, and then I got a call for it, and the guy called me and said, "Can you do it 45?" And on this occasion, without missing a beat, I just said, "Yes, I'll do that for you." Took it for £45. I didn't really feel like sitting around for half an hour trying to get what I felt was a fair price for a job, and I'd already looked at the jobs. There wasn't anything, as I said, there wasn't anything going all the way back to my house or near my house, so I thought I'd just pick this job up, get on the move, get straight off on the road again, and then see what happens when I get to Keighley. Keighley's not such a bad area to be in. It's no better or worse than where I am now. So it's a small van job, nice and easy. I'm only 10 miles away from the pickup. It's about 35 minutes drive to get there because of traffic, but dead miles will be quite low. And the main thing is I'm still working, still earning money, still moving, and I am going to just try and keep this up for the whole day and see what happens. It might just be that if I just have a slightly different attitude to small van jobs, I might find them more interesting or more useful. I think I've had enough of sitting around for 2 or 3 hours trying to get jobs where they don't exist. So maybe today is just about trying getting anything and just potter through the day. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it at the end of the day. I think £45 is a cheap price for this, but it's not a million miles off what I want to get. It's only £5 off what I want to get, so I'm not displeased about it. Right, yeah. So I'll let you know how the rest of the day goes. It's now 1:45. I'll be at pickup at 1:15, and I'm guessing the delivery will be about just over an hour drive, so maybe 2:30. So I'm in Keighley, and I should have a chance to get a third job quite easily, hopefully. So yeah, well, I'll let you know how it goes. I must say, just before I go, I am mindful that last week was so bad, so I'm going to have to do something slightly different to what I did last week. And I'm hoping today, being a Friday, that it'll be a little bit easier to find a job anyway. But and also today is the last day of January, so any work that I do now will be paid either in 30 days or 45 days. Anything I do tomorrow will be paid 30 days or 45 days at the end of February. So it really is beneficial for me to get as many jobs in today as I can, even if they're a bit low in paying, just get that money in a bit sooner. I've always a car door open there. Anyway, so yeah, I'll let you know how it goes, and I hope you'll do well. Cheers! So I'm on my way to my drop-off in Keighley. I thought that I would try and capture some of this scenery, which looks amazing. I've just come from Hebden Bridge, which is a lovely looking town, I suppose. I don't think it's a village, it's like more like a town. And just coming over some hills and then see this valley down there with some houses and stuff. Anyway, so I'm about 10 minutes away from my drop-off in Keighley. I picked up the one single item from Stockport, and it's taken me a bit longer than I thought. It's going going to be 3:05 by the time I get to the drop-off, because there was traffic issues on the way up. But it's looking clearish now until I get back down to my drop-off, and then I'll be looking for another job. Hopefully something will come up. I'm not too worried actually about the price of whatever I get. I'm just going to look to get somewhere nearer home if I can. But we'll see how busy it is when I get to the end. Hopefully you can see that view. I dropped off my load at Keighley and was off site by 3:10. It's now 3:20, and I've done exactly the same thing that I did previously, and it's gone for the first job that I could possibly do that was anywhere near me, and I got it. So I'm now travelling 9 miles, 25 minutes or so to Skipton, and I'm picking up a short wheelbase van load going to Wakefield. It's a 4 o'clock pickup, and I'm going to be there about 4:22. And the number of miles loaded is 36, and I'm getting £55 for this. And I literally just went through the list of jobs that are available. There wasn't very many. The closest one to me was this Skipton one, so I quickly put on a quote that I thought I'd do it for if I got it. Not expecting to get it, to be honest. Went through the rest of the list, taking off things I couldn't do that were either my home area or delivery for tomorrow. And then I got a call for this one. So I put one bid on, got one job, and it's a fair price, £55 for 36 miles loaded, short wheelbase. So the only minor issue could be if I'm going to get there at 4:20, will they be ready for me? But if not, it's 20 minutes to wait. It's not a big deal. So I'm hopeful that I will be in Wakefield within about before 5 o'clock, I would say, only before 5 o'clock. And then we'll see whether there's anything else available. If not, I'll just head home. It's probably about 2 hours from Wakefield to my house, so it's not a problem. So today is definitely going to be the best I've had for a while in terms of money and time on the road. It's also been quite interesting countryside to drive in. It's quite tough with a van to drive down these narrow streets with brick walls either side and traffic, but as long as you're concentrating, people are generally quite good about letting you through. Also, if I just bully my way through, they let me through as well. Anyway, so yeah, so I'll pause now and let this person come through. Right, so I'll speak to you later. Well, it'll be probably dark next time I speak to you, but I will also know some idea about how much money I would have made after fuel. Cheers. I don't know if this is coming clear on the video, but this is a 16-degree downward hill, and I should have had my video running before when I came up the other side, because it was very hairy. The lane I came up was a two-way lane, but it had no white markings in the middle of the road. It wasn't wide enough, and it was quite busy, and it was quite hairy at one hairpin turning where I had 3 cars coming down the hill and just me going up the hill. We met at the hairpin, blind hairpin. Oh dear, it's quite adrenaline inducing. So I thought I would stick the video on and just show you this downward track road into this valley, in case anything else happens of interest. Yeah, my heart's still beating after that last interaction. Yeah, so it does take a lot of concentration driving down these roads or along these roads, because they're very winding, there's not very good visibility. You've got the very hilly and the very narrow. So So you really have to be completely aware of what's about to come. Usually, like here, you can pass. But there are parts of the road where one person has to pull over and let you pass. So here's a sign saying the road's getting thinner. So we'll see what it looks like. We're coming into a built-up area now. 30 miles an hour is way too fast for this road. There you go, there's the car coming up. It's thankfully pulled across. Thank them. You got a blind bend here with a car across half the road. There's a little pointy stick sticking out the side of it. I would love to just knock those off. And then you got this is not really a road anymore. Now look, there's brick walls on both sides, and it's like a path almost. Oh dear, there comes another car. Now what are we going to do? Now what? Well, I'm not going backwards. You go backwards, Mr. Honda. Oh my goodness me. Heartbeat again. He came on there quite fast, didn't he? And you need to go back further than that, I'm afraid. You need to be a bit straighter than that. Oh well. He hasn't come back far enough. We're through. Whew, there's a car behind me. I mean, I'll let this car through, but he's going backwards, okay. There's one car behind me, so it probably makes sense that the person in front of me, if they're on their own, they stop. I'll just thank them very profusely. And we carry on through this. I don't even know where we are at the moment. It's quite a large, I would call it a town. But I'm not quite sure where I am at the moment. If I pull my thing out, it is Sutton in Craven, which I've never heard of, but it's a lovely winding northern town. But it does make my heart beat faster as I'm driving through here with my van. Right, so now back to a proper two-way road. So I'll stop the video here and catch my breath somewhat. Howdy! I've just dropped off the load at the Wakefield warehouse, and now I'm heading home because there's not any jobs for me to bid on at the moment in this area. I haven't got anything booked in for Monday at the moment, so I'll have to play that by ear on Monday morning. It's now just before 6 o'clock and I'm going to take about 2 hours to get home, so I'll be finished by about 8 today. I'm going to assume that I don't pick up anything on the way back, and so I've got some stats for today. And based on an average fuel price of 15.43 pence per mile, today I've driven 349 miles, 349. I will have worked for 11 hours in total, and I've made £222, 222, from 3 CX jobs. My fuel costs for today are £53.85, so let's make that £54, which means that my net earnings today after fuel come to £168.168. And I think what I shall do now, I will stop at some point and just quickly calculate some monthly figures for January. I'll just do some brief ones, things like my gross and net earnings for the month, and the number of miles I've driven in the month, the number of days I've worked, and then I think that might be quite interesting to finish off this video, and people then can compare their Januaries to my January. Right, I'll see you in a bit. Cheers. Here are my January 2025 stats. I only worked for 9 days in the month of January. I have averaged out a 12-hour day on average over those 9 days. I've driven a total number of miles from door to door of 3,711 miles. 3711. My gross earnings for the month are £2,022, 2022. I have spent £558 on fuel in the month, 558. That means that my net earnings for the month after fuel are £1,464, 1464. And then finally, over the 9 days I've worked, therefore my average amount of earnings per day after fuel comes to £163, 163. So, my question is, how have you done in January? Looking at your average amount of earnings after fuel, what have you earned in January? Is it similar to mine? This is based on the CX work, or have you done a lot better or a lot worse? Okay, bring us to a close. Thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope that you have been and continue to be successful, however you choose to define that word for yourselves. I shall see you next on Monday. Farewell, friends.